Hey, 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 welcome back. Welcome back to the Psychic Soul Healer channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to the channel, I'm going to do a collective reading. So know that energy is fluid, roles could be reversed. Interpret the message as it best resonates with you. You always take what you need and leave the rest. Also know on this channel and all my channels, I like to dive deep within the reading. So I look at everything, but we take more time to look at the spiritual blockages, the shadows, and see how they play out as karmic themes, help you understand why your person is doing what they're doing. The readings have a therapy style to them to help you again understand why everything's playing out the way that it is, why you're attracting that person into your life, and what you can do to actually shape shift your energy, heal the situation, heal and bring balance into your life is actually healing the situation. It doesn't necessarily mean that you get the outcome that you want if it's to be with a person that's completely toxic. However, you can avoid the negative karmic consequences. Now, anything of any importance or relevance to the channel, you can find in the description box. Like, share, and subscribe, please. And if you are a Virgo or a Gemini, check out my other channels. A Virgo, Scorpio, or Virgo, Scorpio, and Gemini. That's it. And this is my old zodiac channel. All right. So the word of the video is oneness. Oneness. See, love this card because it means so many different things. But we're gonna pull another one just to get clarity because it does mean so many different things. Automatically I'm feeling like it's a soulmate connection. I feel like there's a connection to God because God represents oneness. The energy of love is the energy of God, which is the energy of the universe. And when we recognize our soul purpose, there's a sense of oneness, is what that card represents, why I like it. However, you're connected to someone that feels powerless, which tells me that they're in a situation that they feel like they can't get out of. Now let's see why I'm feeling that. Whoop. Well, they're insecure, first of all, so they actually could get out of their situation, but I feel like this person has been with somebody that has beaten them down. I also feel like they've come from a home that didn't give good support, so they never had a good foundation within themselves. And a good foundation within yourself is your connection to your higher self, which is a God part of self. And that only happens from becoming yourself through the co-creation process. So this person has always been in codependent relationships. And so because they've always had reckless behavior. And reckless behavior is that they live more from their addictions. They're not, they're always thoughtless. They take dangerous and unnecessary risks. Um, because I feel like they have addictive behavior. People that haven't found themselves don't feel whole. They look for the answers outside of themselves. So relationships don't work out. So even though that this is a soul connection, there is ESP through the heart and mind, and this person feels that they're too insecure to really know what to do or how to act in this type of relationship. And the reason why is because they wouldn't be emotionally intelligent, they wouldn't know how to be transparent, they don't like who they are. So, and they don't like who they are because they sacrifice too much energy when people come into their life. They lose themselves in the relationship by becoming the martyr. And that's because if we don't really have an identity and we don't really know who we are and we're not really fulfilled in life, doesn't mean that this person doesn't have a job. It means that they're not fulfilled within their life. There's no passion for life. It means that, relationships don't work out because they look for that a relationship to give that to them, and it always comes up short. And so over time this person has become fragmented, this person has become wounded. This is what you're dealing with. Even though this is a divine union, and it could be, if this person would heal, they need a healing. They need healing, and you would have to be extra kind, but understand, I think it makes it impossible when the person is acting childish. They act like a child. They act like the relationship isn't serious. So you don't really want to invest within them, but they're not gonna act, they're insecure, so they're gonna act childish, play games, try to instigate you, try to make you give them the emotional energy, like by you chasing them, validating them because they're insecure. So understand what has happened is over time, it's like you try to like fix this relationship a few times with the remains to restore it. But then what happens is the person goes back to again the same thing because they have past life trauma. So they're fragmented. And so, is there like a term in the Bible that's called fragmented? No, that's more of a psychology term, and that's where the soul is detached. And it's where like a spiritual term is like we would say that there is again like just detachment, disassociation disorder, where this person like doesn't really know who they are because again of the past trauma. They associate with the trauma, and that's not who they are. When people associate with the trauma, there's a numbing feeling. It doesn't feel good. It creates anxiety. It's foreign from us because the soul always knows, your higher self always knows. So like I said, they have feelings, but not they don't feel safe enough to be transparent. And I say that because it's like this person wears masks. Okay. So it's like you would have to go beyond like the superficial, what it looks like on the outside to really get to know this person. You'd have to again try to get close, and they would have to be transparent, and they're not transparent. Like I said, they play games, and they're childish because they're insecure, so they don't like who they are, so it's just easier for them to act like they don't really care. And again, and that's really the disguise is I really don't care. But the thing is, because they are the way that they are, the relationship feels more like an entanglement where it's stifled. It's demanding that you and limited because of them. So it's a one-sided relationship, and you just felt like they're in a fog. They don't really know they don't really know what they do, so the relationship is always turbulent, and that's what the problem is. It's like they're just not aware, and it's because of whatever experiences that they've gone through. So they came into this connection fragmented. So how do they treat you is going to be, based a lot on how this person treats themselves, which isn't going to be good. And that's the energy. Like I feel like this person, like they know that they've created betrayal within the situation. I feel like they don't know how to handle it. They have an eating disorder. They feel they have burdens. And again, it's mainly because they create an illusion, and the illusion is like to protect their self-image. So if you were to get too close to them, you would see everything. So again, they would rather keep it where they've created the illusions, the illusion of who they want you to perceive that they are instead of who they are, which means that again, the relationship would just be surface. So it keeps just saying the same exact thing. Like even though that there is a soulmate connection, this person's too afraid to even let you in. But you are the first person that makes them feel this way. You're like where they actually, have been thinking about you. But they are battling inner demons, and that's the insecurity. So the part of them does want to be in this connection, you know. Even though they sabotage this connection. It's like they have their own. things, like the obstacles that they put in their way. The obstacles is again that person. It's again getting out of a situation. Like that, that's really what I feel like. I feel like this person thought that they were going to be able to get out of a situation, and they feel like they can't. Now that's whether that's with a past life karmic me, whether that's with a family, a business, something that again that this person's identity like was attached to, even though they weren't like really loving that identity. It was like more of a self like image that they wanted to maintain instead of again their identity, and that they can't get out of that situation. And you know, the irony is that this person does everything to protect that self-image, but the fact that they can't get out of their situation shows you that that's not really who they are. When a person is in charge of their life, they're able to get out of anything. It doesn't mean that it's an easy situation. What it means is that, we are consistent in trying to. This person is battling inner demons, and the inner demons is that they're insecure. They would have wanted to keep this relationship at a very surface level. Here for a good time, not a long time. Don't expect them to be like, there for you emotionally all the time, because they're not even there for themselves emotionally all the time. This person feels burdened. They don't feel like they don't have enough to give. It's again, and they're very worried about their self-image. And so the mask is that, and if you got into a relationship with them, you would be like completely like in an entanglement, because they're not who they say that they are. They're actually a martyr in whatever situation that they're in that they don't really want to be in. It's like they're sacrificing their energy. They're saying that they don't know how to get out. They can get out, but it's going to risk them their self-image. It's going to, they're going to have to take that mask off. They can never let you into their life as long as they're keeping up that charade. That's what the problem is. So they're emotionally unavailable. That's what the problem is. Like I said, it would be like you being in a relationship by yourself. They know that they wish that they could do more for you. You make them nervous. There's still a telepathic bond, but this person runs away, from facing their problems, and that's what the problem is. It's like that, those inner demons is that. It's that take off the mask, stop with the illusions, leave whatever your situation is, because it's clearly not working if you have to be a martyr and give all your energy to it. And all these obstacles, whether other people are putting the obstacles in your way or whether you're putting the obstacles in your way, that they can get out of it, if they really wanted to. They're acting like that they can't, a little bit like, woe is me, woe is me, woe is me. But, like this connection isn't really strong enough. Again, they feel powerless. But are they powerless? Well, from their level of consciousness, yes, they are. So are they going to do anything to like fix this situation? Are they going to do anything to fix this situation? Did I pull from this deck? Yes, I did. Let's see what I pull. Now I feel like they're going to conform again, and not conform, is to do that because they're lazy. And part of that laziness is the insecurity. It's the overthinking and not really knowing how to come. There's a disconnect from their higher self. This person is very codependent. It's they're in a situation that they said that they were going to get out of, but I think that at one time they really thought that they were going to get out of it. But now it's taken so much longer, and now it's good. They're lazy about it. They don't know what to do. And that's why, again, that when they're realizing that you're not interested, again, they can feel like your energy is not really around. And because, again, that wherever they are, they're not giving you the time. They're not giving you the time. They're lost. They don't know, like, they don't know. um, they don't know what to do. They feel abandoned by you, and they also feel like they're abandoned just and that they don't really know how to get out. It's like they just feel like they need to be a martyr in their situation. Whatever their situation is, it's not a good one because there's no emotional connection. They're not happy and they're just lazy. But that happens when we overthink and we're stuck in stupid, because that's what happens when it's a trauma response. It's like this person is living out some sort of karmic thing where, like I said, they thought that they would be out of their situation. I feel like they jumped the gun. They said that they were going to be out of their situation, or that they were out of their situation before they actually were out of their situation. And then obstacles happened. They feel hopeless. Yes, they feel the connection, but it's like they can't do anything. And they can't do anything because, like I said, somebody has power over them or they gave up their power. So, again, and they run away from doing anything about it. That's what the problem is. It's like they're childish. It was easier to be childish. It was easier to play games. Yes, I could have been connected to you and have you where again it would be a surface relationship, but their emotions would be fulfilled and they could stay where they were. That would be their ideal situation. You're not doing that. You're not doing it. They realize you're fed up. Your energy is not around them. They're really, again, don't know how to get out of their situation. But part of it is laziness. But like I said, I feel like it's just because this person is just not evolved enough. Like I said, when we come from places where we're really scared and we don't know what to do, and we're basing our life on past experiences where I feel like this person has lived this experience before somehow, this trauma where they feel stuck and not in charge of their life because they're codependent. And so there's a sense of the only way they're going to get out of that situation is by themselves. It would work if, again, you were going to be surface or you help them get out of that situation. But either way, it would require you taking a step down and dummying down to be with this person, and then you would be neglecting yourself. You would be abandoning yourself. This person feels abandoned because no one's going to do that for them. They have to do it themselves and they're lost. They don't know how to do it. They don't know how to, like, that's what this whole story is about. It's like with whatever their situation is, it's like they don't know how to get out of it. They don't know how they're in it. It's almost like, are they even present in their own life? It's like, so we look at your inner child wounds, lies and secrets, self-love, oppression, gifts, safety and security, organized chaos. One, two, three, four, five, and one more makes six, abandonment. So again, when we have inner child wounds, that's when we, again, over time, if we don't heal them, they become very suppressed and then oppressed, and we don't remember them. So how they play out in as the karmic theme for you would be, again, not feeling safe in relationships, feeling as if you have to oppress yourself, like you're not really allowed to express yourself. You're not allowed to be your true you in the relationship. So, you were not told, almost without being told, that you are not loved. There's that not to love yourself when you are like oppressed. It's like you have to become someone else. That's what it feels like when you're growing up, or otherwise you're abandoned. So abandonment you have also. And part of that was just because there was things going on in the home. The lies and secrecy could be you came from an alcoholic family. It could be you came from a home that there was adultery, that there was just certain things that went on in the house that not everyone could be present there for you. So again, in that, like I said, the oppression could be, maybe if you were creating awareness that there was something that this, you know, your family didn't want you to really expose. So it was like organized chaos, which means that you got things done. You went to work or you went to school, you ate, you had a bed to sleep in, but it was chaotic because life surrounded by the lie and secrecy. So again, coming from an alcoholic family, that's like lies and secrecy, that everything's fine, but everything's not fine. And you're not allowed to be your true self. You're not allowed to express your pain. You're not allowed to express your fear. You got to protect the lie. And again, every time you do, you're suppressed and then oppressed. And it, kind of the message is you're not accepted. You're not loved. So you were taught not to love yourself. It's like, yeah, things got done, you went to school, yeah, but again, your life was dependent on what other people wanted you to do, not on finding yourself, not on living your bliss, not on finding your bliss. It was again more or less on conforming to what your environment needed you to do at that time. So, which is again funny because you're in this connection with this person that is conforming to what they their situation is. And if you were to be with them, they would make you conform to whatever their situation was. So again, you know, I don't see that happening. I don't see like you being with them because they are not going to let you get close. And as long as they're childish and the relationship can't really go anywhere because, two steps forward, three steps back, because this person can't be transparent. They can't show intimacy. They don't want you to see all the obstacles. They're really lazy, and yes, there's a connection, but if the person's insecure, they don't have the gusto to do it for themselves. They don't love themselves enough to do it for themselves. And that's what the problem is. And so again, they might say, no, I can't. They have 1,000 excuses. They can. They would be uncomfortable. But, either stay in a bad relationship that's going to make you uncomfortable, stay at a bad job, stay, at whatever, wherever they feel that they are, that they feel that they can't get out of. This is a collective reading. So that there's some that are with karmics, there's some are with family, there's some are with, you know, friends or whatever, but just the situation's outgrown itself. We can feel when it's outgrown itself because life doesn't work anymore. So again, this person like has to be a little uncomfortable to get out of their situation. Healing doesn't feel good. It requires us to change. And this person's going to sit there and pretend that, that it's so hard for them. My eyes darting around because I'm looking for a deck of cards. Um, there it is. So that's the issue. It's like with this person. So the best that you can say is, why did you attract this person into your life? So now you know why. It's again like they would have put you back into the same exact energy that, you know, that your inner child wounds, right? That fragmented where you were disassociated when you again couldn't be your true self. They would have oppressed you because that's how they were living. And it would have been for nothing because a relationship can't grow at all. It would be like you were watering yourself out for them. So, being that you're not going to give your energy to them, Spirit says use your powerful voice to express yourself fearlessly and speak with courage, meaning set boundaries, create the world with your voice. Don't be afraid to ask for what you need. You might have had a block again, being that you grew up in an environment that you were oppressed, you weren't able to express yourself, and attracting a person into this life. You should have asked certain questions, set certain boundaries. Maybe you didn't. So, Spirit's saying that's one thing. We create the world with our voice. Again, create the sacred space also. So again, create and cleanse a tranquil area to reflect, spend time with yourself. Because again, that's how you get a stronger connection to the higher self, which is the God part of self. Again, we pray, that's how we talk to God. We meditate, that's how God talks to us. When you train yourself by doing meditation, then automatically, eventually, your body just will receive divine guidance and you won't have to go into a meditative state to get it. However, you should always go into a meditative state, meaning every day have a meditation practice to help you to relax the body, to learn how to get into that state so that it becomes natural, because the world will take us away from that internal space where we get that guidance, where we can hear that guidance, I should say. Okay, and then Spirit says, go out and meet people. You're not alone. Again, if you attracted to this, it's like understand you get love from many different people and situations. When you fill your own cup, you meet different people. Again, birds of a feather flock together. You meet people that are going to fill you, that are going to emotionally fulfill you, and so that you're not alone, so that you can make the right decisions, can discern like what a person's really all about. Like, so Spirit's saying, well, there were telltale signs that you didn't see because maybe you're an island to yourself. Maybe you've outgrown some of your friends. Maybe you don't go out with your friends, or you're not getting fulfilled emotionally enough with your friends. So Spirit's saying you got to go out into the world again, create the sacred space again, so that you get the divine um, intuition about things that you can join, where you want to spend your time, your energy, your focus, your money, again, and then go out there and get grounded and do it. And you're going to meet people that are going to emotionally fulfill you so that when you meet someone, you don't just give them all of your time. It's that you don't lose yourself in a connection that's codependent, so that that person has to rise up to you, or that if you get into a relationship and you find out that the person really can't give you, doesn't matter, because you didn't pour everything that you have into that person. Remember, it's how much you give is the big as is going to be the size of that hole, if it doesn't work out. So if you're not pouring into yourself at the same time, and pouring into yourself is not just work and finding yourself, but it's having a good time with friends, getting that emotional support that you need, especially if you didn't have that love growing up. You need that support now, because there's infinite possibilities for you. It's again, and when you have that support, you're really able to be grounded, you're able to get through difficult times, you find your balance. And the Spirit says that boundless opportunities arise when you release fear and you can fulfill your purpose to humanity, and you're protected. Know that you are protected and guided by the unseen forces. So again, your spirit guides, your ancestors, God, all the angels, they're all protecting you. You can't fail. It's that you won't fail. It's that now it's a time more or less not to be in a relationship, but to fulfill your destiny, so that, while you're on your destiny, you can, like, again, the destiny is always unfolding when you're on your soul's journey, right? So you're meeting people, and those situations that are growing you and changing you and healing you are happening while you are on your, again, journey. This is how God changes your mind and your heart about what you think you are, what you think the world is, again, heals your mind and your heart, by again bringing you the things that are going to help transform you while you're on this journey. And that's what Spirit says. And that this connection is just like a stepping stone, that each small step brings you closer to overcoming your fears and helping you evolve back into your original energy, to restore you back into your original energy of wholeness, of unconditional love. That each relationship, even this relationship, because it made you aware of what you needed to do for yourself, and that really it was not put time into this person, but put the time and love into yourself. And part of that was to, again, find yourself and meet your tribe and see that you are supported and see that the support comes in all different ways so that you're not codependent by, codependent on anything. That's really what this is about, where this person like chooses to stay fragmented because it's easier. They'll say that it's a problem, but they're lazy, like I said. And so for you, it was all about choosing you. And we leave off with one more, which is joy. And Spirit says, now it's time again to be like a child, be like childlike. Because in the Bible, it says that what they're referring to is you going out into life and you are connecting to different people, different situations. You have no expectation of anything. You're just going out and doing what you love, and you're finding yourself. You don't have any expectations, like I just said, because expectations and ownership is not unconditional love. We have to become the energy of unconditional love. That's the energy of the universe, it's the energy of God. We are an extension of God and the universe because God made the universe. So understand, Spirit says, like a child, discover joy. Okay. And it can be done even in the simplest ways. It doesn't mean to like even have a love affair with yourself. However, you need to have a love affair with yourself to find those deeper, richer joys. But we start with just finding the simplicities of life that bring you joy, that the magical moments that you have when you connect with a friend, or when the magical moments when you again see the signs and the synchronicities, if you wanted to join something or do something and then you see signs and symbols that are pointing in the direction of what you know and kind of knew psychically that you wanted to do. That it's about having a love affair with yourself. It's about having a love affair with life, finding the passions in your life. That's what this energy is about, joy, right? And so, not in the material. Like I said, this person's hiding behind the illusions of who they want you to perceive, the self image, which is based on possessions and material, which is the exact opposite of this energy. And Spirit says, even the smallest of joy is a great source of light. So it's even if you say, well, there's nothing really happy, we start by the simplest things in life, the smell of a flower, walking of a dog, talking with a friend, having coffee with a friend, or just sipping your coffee, watching the sunrise. Any small thing to have gratitude. Having gratitude leads to more joy. And that's how you get away from this energy, is you find yourself and you have a love affair with yourself. And then you meet your tribe, and then you're creating yourself at the same time. Your destiny is continuously unfolding. Your soul's path is continually unfolding. You can have an idea of what you want it to be, but you're not allowed to say how you get there. That is in charge of the divine, and the divine brings you the perfect people and situations and opportunities in the right moment. That's how you have a relationship with God. That's how you get to see the support. And that's why this person doesn't need to be in your life, because Spirit says you needed to get strong within yourself first. And you weren't. And now going on this journey and meeting your tribe and creating yourself, you are going to be strong, because you're going to be led to all the tools that help you become strong and polished and smart and successful and not codependent, and things that inevitably bring you back to loving yourself, because you say, well, I am capable. I can do this. I see myself differently. And that's really what the universe, God, and the universe do. They help to restore your energy. It's a co-creation process, though. You have to show up as well. All right. And we see that you're doing it. So I'm going to leave that there, collective. Let me know how you resonated, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.